a mommy bass and a daddy bass love each other very much. They... Ooh, there's a fish. There's a fish. That's a really good one. What's going on, guys? It's Cole with CV Fishing, and I'm here with another episode of Bassin 101. And today we're going to be talking about the best baits that I like to use for the pre-spawn. So coming up here in the springtime, it's time for the bass to start moving, right? We get water temperatures starting to get up in that 55 degree, 60 degree area, and that's when those fish are going to want to be spawning. And so it's key to remember when the water temperatures start getting up to, maybe 53, 54, up to 56, right before 60 degrees, that's when these fish are going to be staging. They're going to start eating, going to start getting ready to get on those beds and start spawning. And the daddy bass finds somewhere safe for mommy bass to lay her eggs, and that's where they sit. Some of the baits that I really like to use, one is a chatterbait, especially around grass. There's a lot of grassy areas around here. Another one that's a key in spring is going to be this lipless crank. I like throwing red. I only will throw red in the spring, but something about the red color lipless crank, or just red in general in the spring, it's a killer. We're going to be throwing the fluke around a little bit, just a weightless fluke. See if we can get a bite on that, see if the fish are a little more active. Because if those fish are more active in those shallows, then a weightless fluke is going to be perfect to get into that 1 to 2 feet of water. And so I'll show you guys too what I'm throwing as trailers. So I really like to do shad imitators in these ponds. There's really big shad that swim around. And so if I can get a shad color anything in a bass's face, I usually have awesome luck. And so for that, what I'm going to throw on my chatterbait are these Jawtech punch shads. Straight down the middle, and then I'm popping it out right where I remembered lining it up at, and then I'm pulling that all the way up on that weed guard, all the way up, and there we go. I don't have a skirt on this chatterbait. It's just a little bit of a different presentation. So this is definitely one. So we've got the white chatterbait with the minnow flash punch shad from Jawtech on there. So we're going to be throwing that around for sure today. Remember, these fish this time of year, they're really active. It can be a hard bite before the spring. So you really just want to imitate this time of year the kind of stuff that these bass are feeding on, getting ready to get up on those beds. Without keeping us back anymore, we're going to get out here to the ponds, and I'm going to show you guys how I fish these, and we're going to get in on some fish. All right, stay tuned. And I think I'm going to start the day off actually throwing my lipless crank out of this corner. As you guys can see, there's a lot of grass lines right here. And what I'm thinking is either like under this grass or right in front of it is probably where these fish are gonna bed up in this pond. With that, I'm gonna know I need to keep my bait moving a little faster. So when I hook it out there, I'm probably gonna work it pretty quick just so I know I'm not getting in grass. And it's hard to tell sometimes. I mean, you can feel the weight, but there's just so much grass in ponds that, fishing treble hook baits can really be a pain in the butt sometimes like that. I mean, look at that. And so it kind of just, depends on your pond you're at. So make the call. So, I mean, in this pond right here, right, I obviously brought my chatterbait out too. If I might need to start throwing my chatterbait around instead, we're just going to be ripping the lipless crank through here. And we got a bunch of grass again. Look at that. It's just hard. You guys got to kind of adapt to your ponds. So if I'm seeing that there's too much grass in here, I'm definitely going to change. Look, there's a fish, guys. Fish on the lipless. It feels good too. He feels good. He smoked that lipless, guys. Oh, he is a good one. That's a good fish, guys. Holy tank. Chunky fish. Guys, look at this. So I'm just ripping that lipless crank through there. And look how fat of a fish this is. I mean, holy cow. That's a good pre-spawn female right there. I'm gonna put her on the scale actually. What is 3.5 pounder? I wonder if you guys can see that on the camera. That's 3.5. That's a 3.5 pounder. That is a sweet fish for that. All right, let's get her in the water. Throw her back. All right, please come up and swim off. That was on the lipless crank, boys. That was nuts. I think, yeah, that red color, that just kills them. Big pre-spawn female for you guys on the lipless crank. Again, with that, what I was doing, I was just ripping it as fast as I can, trying to keep it off the grass on the bottom. So maybe keep trying that. I'm gonna turn my drag up a little because that fish was definitely pulling some drag. So I'm just really burning this thing through the water. I'm really burning it through here. We got some grass. We're gonna have to pick that off at times. I've got this lipless crank tied on with a snap. I like having snaps on my crankbaits, even sometimes my jerk baits. It just really helps with the action. Sometimes it can be a pain to get this grass off, but you gotta live with it because we just caught a 3.5 pounder on it and I can't give it up that easy. I think before we fish a chatterbait, give this a chance. And so when you guys are fishing crankbaits, you'll also be able to, oh, that was some grass. In your rod tip when you're fishing crankbaits, you'll be able to feel it like vibrate. And so usually if you're cranking with a lipless crankbait and you kind of stop feeling the vibration, you're either hung up or a fish has it. So what I like to do, because it doesn't ever hurt, is if you feel that vibration stop out of nowhere, just give it a good hook set, right? So I'm just burning this thing super fast. I'm still feeling so much grass out there off that point of that island. This is a pretty shallow pond as well, so it's kind of hard to say how well these liplesses are gonna work. There's a fish. Oh, he came off. That was burning it fast too. Oh, I know you guys saw that one. Yeah. So maybe the faster the better it might be with these ponds. So it's kind of what I'm picking up on now. I'm just reeling this thing like crazy. I hit some grass. That kind of sucks. Oh, there's a fish. On the lipless crankbait, guys. That's not a bad fish. All right. Right on. Guys, so here's another fish right there on that lipless crankbait, right? So I'm kind of picking up on this pattern, right? If I just burn it real fast, it's causing these fish to just want to come eat it and snack it. All right. There you go. Cool. So that's number 2 on that lipless crank, guys. Oh, I've got sticks and everything all over. I am burning it. And I still got a little grass, which is kind of nuts, but that was probably just on the fall when it landed off the cast. Take a swing over there. Get ready. As soon as it hits the water, we're gone. Oh, he came off, but there was a fish. There was a bite. And you got to be ready, guys. Like, these bites are coming so fast, and sometimes they're soft, but you'll feel it just tug, and you got to be ready to yank back on it. So we're burning it. Well, we all know how it is when a female's hungry. There's a fish. That might be a good one. It's really, that is a good one. That's a good fish on it. These fish are really munching. Right there in the bottom lip. There we go, guys. Check it out. That's another fish on that lipless crank, guys. This is the third one of the day. That's a healthy fish right there. So the lipless crank strikes again, just burning it. Gonna get this fish back in the water, and off he goes. We're killing him. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna show you guys how I like to rig up my flukes. So the fluke I'm gonna be using is the Jawtech KO shad right here. These things are sweet. They have a little bit of glitter in them. They're scented. They've got the garlic scent. They've got good salt in them. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these flukes right here, and then I've got a 3/0 EWG hook. And so what I'm going to do is just put it barely in the nose. So I'm going to barely take this and then stick it down till the shank of that hook's right there. And then all I'm going to do is pop it out, pop the hook out like that. So you have it kind of on like that. And then all you're going to do is just slide this all the way up your hook and twist it. Make sure you give it a 180-degree twist. And that way you can pull your fluke all the way up on the eyelet of your hook, just like that. And now, almost to the fun part, you just line up right here. You see your hook, mark that lowest point with your finger, and that's where you're going to poke it through. So then I'm just going to take this, I'm going to bend my soft plastic, put that hole all the way through where I measured, and our fluke is on there. And then to make this weedless, again, like we showed in the Texas rig video, all you got to do for this is you'll pull it forward and then skin hook that Texas rig right there. So now you have a weedless fluke. So what I'll do is I'll come out here, and since it's weightless, you have to fish this thing slow. Just take a cast out there, and then I let it sink. I let that thing sink all the way down before I even touch my reel. I'll keep my hands off of my reel. Now we're only in about 2 feet of water, so I don't have to let it sink for super, super long, but just make sure it's on the bottom. And so now while I'm keeping my line tight, I'm gonna just give it a tap and bring my rod back, right? So I'm bringing my rod back on that slack line. Oh, I thought I had a fish. Must have been on a stick. But so what I'm doing is I'm jerking it, and I'm coming it back to a slack line and letting it sink. And it's important when you're giving it these jerks not to just jerk it and keep it. You want that bait to come forward and then stop and give an erratic movement in the water. So to do that, yeah, you just give it a pop and let it go back to slack line. Tighten up your slack, pop, pop, and then back. I'm kind of just slow rolling it, giving it 2 little taps, 1 little tap, and then letting it sink. And with flukes too, people really like to get in cadences, and there's a fish, there's a fish, there's a fish, there's a fish. Come here, come here, come here. There we go, fluke fish. I was about to say, I was getting into a rhythm where it's almost feeling like every twitch is in rhythm and the same as the last one, and sometimes that's what they'll eat. And there we go. There's a fish on the fluke. He's a little guy for sure. Yeah, so look at that, guys. So there we go. There's a fish. That was our fish on the fluke. Let's try to get another one doing like that cadenced pattern. Let's release. Off he goes. Back to his home. Cool. And he bit it really soft. Little male. So I'll let it sink, and then I'm getting into that pattern. It was just 1, and then I let it sink, and then I'm going 1. I'm letting it sit for the same time. Very rhythmic. All right, everyone. So yeah, we just went around those 2 ponds with the lipless and the fluke. We had a couple bites on the fluke, nothing on the lipless. It's just grassy out here, but you know, we got 4 decent ones today on those baits that I wanted to talk to you guys about on the fluke and the lipless. And you know, it just goes to show, you know, you can put some quality fish in on those two baits. We tried the chatterbait a little. Nothing really on the chatterbait. I really didn't give it too hard of a whack, but we're gonna go see if we can get one more fish for you guys, at least. Stay tuned. Thanks, guys. Need one more. Oh, there we go. 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 Come on. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna skull drag him across the water. That's a good one. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. That's a final fish. 1% left on the camera. Let's go.